Absolutely. Good morning to you, Samson, this morning.
Well, good morning to you. Very nice to be back here with you, and of course, do what we know how to do best.
Exactly.
Well, I'm talking about our Daybreak just this morning, and that has to do with the Governors Forum, and it involves Rotimi Amaechi, the presidential aspirant for the ADC, and Peter Obi, also the presidential candidate for NDC right now.
There's a difference
between these two. And I said he lied about Governors Forum's election, refused to repeat claim before God, author, and judge. I think we've been seeing a lot of revelations lately from different political quarters. I think yesterday too, Rotimi Amaechi made some claims about when he said he wasn't going to steal, it was 80% setting at that time. I mean, what happened to the remaining 20%? And that actually raised a lot of eyebrows out there. People dropped a lot of comments about his personality, and the fact that they were asking questions about if they could trust him. And we also know that Peter Obi has also been under fire lately about different things he said in time past that really cannot be placed anywhere around the truth. And a lot of these things will happen, especially when the election is coming. And to now say that we had issues during the Governors Forum, whatever, and then right now saying Peter Obi is actually lying about what he said the other time.
I think it's funny because, well, to me it's funny because some would not expect this to come from these two men, owing to where they come from and some of the things they've done together in the past. But, it's a revelation from 2013. And so maybe the question is, why bring this up now? So there are a set of people who probably think, Amaechi is trying to work for other people except Peter Obi. Some have even made claims to say he's trying to help Atiku, or is trying to, because in fact, one of the popular opinions amongst the Obi'S is that Amaechi does not know where he stands. Like, he's always on the fence. Today he can show you this side, or tomorrow, and then he comes again to say this. And that he's not a stable person, but that's also an allegation that have been put forward against him. But let's take it a step further now to see the claims of 2013. Why does it matter in 2026? Because that was the first question that came to my mind. If that happened in 2013, that's a lot of years. I mean, there's so many years, maybe about 13 years, if so to say, since that time. So why bring this up? It's an old issue. There are different major developments that you can speak to, but some have also alluded to the fact that maybe because they have not been able to find anything so dirty with Peter Obi, they're trying to find one. In fact, somebody said in one of the comments that I think they should go to church to celebrate it. They should do Thanksgiving because they have just found one lie that Peter Obi has told. Whereas many other persons in the political space, talking about Atiku, talking about every other giant, have lied almost all day. Yeah, so it was a comment. It was a brief, well, not so jovial, not so comical, but a bit of banters here and there, depending on where you stand. But a good number of Peter Obi's people, I mean, the obedient, like they say, are against this idea to say you can't be a person from that side and criticize heavily Peter Obi. What about other people? I mean, are you not seeing the incumbent administration? There's so much to talk about them. Why bounce on Peter Obi? But others have also said maybe Peter Obi is the low-hanging fruit that everybody can reach. So it's so easy to say, oh, Peter Obi is this, Peter Obi is that. But, others have also made claims that possibly it's because Peter Obi is one of the strongest voices, especially coming to the 2027 elections. Some are saying that there's a chance that Peter Obi is going to be a prominent figure yet again in this election. You remember the last one that he polled about, I think 6.1 million or thereabout at the last elections. And so some are expecting the same. And so they are saying that for everybody that wants to become great in life, of course, especially politically, there's going to be a bit of backlash from here, from there. But the question is, why should he come from Amaechi, and why should he also come from 2013? Why can't you get a new thing to say? Now, I will just make my own, this is my viewpoint of this. This is my POV. It's quite simple about Peter Obi. One thing I know for sure is that there's no leader that's led in any position of power, of authority in this country that you might as well adjudge to be sane and 100% without blemish. That's not one of them. I mean, we are humans, right? And there's a saying that to err is human, but to forgive is divine, right? We understand that we are incapacitated in some way. We are imperfect in many other ways, and so that's the thing to say. Yeah, he could have lied, but how does it now really? So what's the implication of that? If he lied that the NGF, the forum, the governors forum, then did something that they were not supposed to do in the PDP, and that. I'm not sure that's so heavy enough to say this is something you want to pull against him to weigh him down. But then, exactly again, it's an opposition game now. They are not in the same party, they are not in the same boat. So anybody can banter, anybody can say what you want to say to denigrate or to bring down another person. It doesn't matter, it's politics. Interest is at stake. So everybody's trying to say one or two. But if we have to maybe broaden it a bit in my purview, in my viewpoint, I think for one, Rotimi Amaechi, judging from his antecedents and maybe judging from Peter Obi's antecedent, I think one of the things I wanted to do at some point, and I checked into what Peter Obi was able to do when he was governor. And I was trying to look out for very significant milestones. I know a lot of persons might throw bombs at me for this thing I'm saying, but if you also, the records are there, so go check it out. You'll probably find something that I'm trying to say.
You should be ready to be dragged by the
I'm actually ready for that because basically, Peter, I have no issues with Peter Obi, and maybe some will even take it tribalistic now to say, maybe it's tribal, maybe supporting. I'm not supporting anybody in this sense. I mean, Nigeria want the best for this country, and so maybe I need to put that disclaimer. So after that disclaimer, what I want to say is, I checked into the profile and the antecedents of Peter Obi, and I was actually, because of maybe the noise around him.
What were you looking for?
I was looking. I was looking for major innovations, right?
Projects that he executed
exactly.
while being a governor.
I was looking for major things, projects. I was looking for policies. I was looking for his policy administration, his policy prescription in his government. I was looking at his board, the people he appointed. I was looking at those people, and I wasn't so fascinated as much as many people are. And this is not to say that it cannot have improved from then till now. It must have grown, of course. He's trying to become the president, so he must have seen a few things here and there. But I'm also looking for a way we can objectively criticize these people. We can bring them to the table to say, let's vet them. I don't want a president or a governor in my country or in my state
that will have less ideas.
Exactly. I want it to be that there's a scorecard to check, right? If you claim to have served in a position, let's scrutinize that. Let's criticize that, I mean, positively now. Let's look at the things you've done and maybe what you're proposing. Because to be a governor is different from being a president. What it takes to be a governor is just not as much as what it takes to be a president. There's a bit of gap in that. So I'm looking for, maybe come 2027, I'm looking for some of these things that they are going to say. I'm one person that would never listen to every of their manifestos that has been passed down from generation, because it's almost like they renew it. They'll just change the name and a few words, and that's it. They put it on ChatGPT and then it does something to it. But I'm looking for something strategic, because Nigerians are at a very strategic position now. We need people with radical change plans, radical innovation. We need things that are not like every other day. We cannot continue the same and expect a different result. So I'm expecting something quite bigger than what they have done in the past. So if you say, oh yeah, my governorship tenure, I did this, but much more so, how can you do much better as a president? That's one of the things, questions. So I'm not saying this to Peter Obi, I'm saying this to every other candidate or aspirant, Atiku, even the present administration. That's what we are putting. We're asking the right questions to say, what are you people doing? What is the blueprint for the country? And I think one of the questions that should go into many debates come 2027 is they should ask every one of these people, what is your plan for security in this country? What is your plan for lives, for security of lives and property? What's your plan for how people can improve? I mean, that microeconomic, stability for humans, for people across the country. And those are the questions that I think we should push forward.
Okay, let me pick it up from where you stopped. You see, while I read that headline overnight, what came to my mind was how relevant is this to the current situation in the country, and of course that speaks to the kind of leaders we parade in Nigeria. At a time when everyone should be talking about policies to curb insecurity in Nigeria, ideas that could help the present administration. However, it will come with criticism. Oh, you could have done it differently. If I was there, I would have done this. These are how ideas are born. These are how ideas are implemented. These are how current administration actually taps from the opposition. Your job is not just to criticize, but to come up with interesting ideas that could help the administration. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do, what you wanted to do if you actually got the chance to be in office was to help the country grow, was to help the country get better. And you could do that too while being on the sideline. You know, that's why the coach is not on the field, right? He's always on the sideline bringing in ideas. Even on the bench, some players see better than those who are on the field of play. They know exactly, oh, I could have actually given the pass to the, or, you know, to the striker, or maybe someone on the other side of the field and whipping a cross, and there could be an header. There are different ways to score a goal.
Yeah.
But then that does not mean my idea is the best. It could be that someone who is not even into what I am doing might have a better idea than I do, and that's the work of opposition. And I have always said this over and over again, that what we have in Nigeria is not actually opposition, it's antagonism. You are just there to antagonize. You make the administration look bad, so that by the time the next general election comes, they seem to be looking bad, and then you have a better chance of coming into the office. And that's exactly what we have in Nigeria now. Let's talk about security a little bit. You see that you know, now people are talking about insecurity in the country. Oh, the president is not doing so well, he's not doing that. Is this the first time that we are having issues of insecurity in this country? There used to be a time that we had bombings even in Abuja, right? The UN center was bombed in Abuja under an administration Nigeria of a political party, and nobody is talking about that. If you measure, just that there is no reasonable yardstick to measure how many people died so time compared to what we have now. How bad was insecurity then and what we have now? But then the fact that we are experiencing it will make us complain about insecurity. But then, is this the first time that we have seen bombings? There used to be a time where from mosque to mosque there were bombings in Borno, in Yobe, and that even has stopped, right? So it's not about how we criticize. It's about what we bring to the table when we criticize. And that's exactly what is actually missing when we talk about opposition in Nigeria as we speak. Rotimi Amaechi is expected to be an elder statesman as we speak. He's been governor 2 times, he's a minister, and you expect him to know better. You expect him to have ideas, because he also said he wants to be president. And of course, Peter Obi, for example, we are seeing him, you know, put out data out there, statistics that cannot even be compared to what is actually realistic. Anytime you talk about issues, he's talking about Bangladesh, he's talking about China. China went back to China. These ideas, we need to have a kind of reorientation. Okay, we are not just talking. You see, when something works in China, does not mean it's going to work in Nigeria. Nigeria is a peculiar case. Whoever is coming to run Nigeria as a country must be someone with excellent ideas of how to get things done. However, in a country like Nigeria, change will not come easy. I'm not saying what this administration has done so far. I'm not, you know, justifying anything they have done so far. What I'm trying to say in essence is that even as Nigerians, there are ways to go about things. There are ways we criticize, and then we are constructive about it. However, it is totally non-existent in a country like Nigeria. And you also mentioned something about achievement of Peter Obi as you know, when he was governor. You see, the problem with Nigerians is, I think I mentioned this yesterday while I was on this desk with Oluwayemi Adelaku, that, you know, we forget easily as Nigerians. Okay, while Peter Obi was governor in Anambra State, they had probably the highest level of insecurity in that state. Okay, that was the era of Okija Shrine and some other shrines in you know, in Anambra State. And of course, we all knew what happened then. The issue of SARS. I want to remember this, but I will remember shortly. So a lot of extrajudicial killings happened during that period. I'm not saying it was caused by Peter Obi, but what I'm saying is we are quick to forget that even these things did not start today. Even in America that we are talking about, the UK that we are talking about, Russia, we are talking about China, we are talking about, they have these kind of, you know, not as much, but then there are killings every day. People, you know, just come, even in the UK, it's a knife battle. In the US, it's a gun battle. So it's, every country has peculiar cases of, you know, even in America, we have had, you know, attacks where school children were wiped out in a blink of an eye, where someone just woke up in the morning, took a gun to a school and opened fire.
They've shot at the president.
Even the White House was shot at. Okay, and the question now is, yes, we want to emulate them in some areas, maybe economic buoyancy and you know, stability in the country. But then, it's not all that rosy in any country around the world. If you are talking about fuel price in Nigeria, you are complaining bitterly that fuel is expensive. Go to UK, it's also expensive there. The only difference is that maybe you could afford it more because of the standard of living, which I know that with time, if the right economic plan is put in place, we can actually get there. Its economy is not rocket science, as some people will say, but it is also rocket science, because it is one thing to formulate, ideas or policies. It's another thing to be able to implement it in your own country. Because one thing is, if you have a policy, for example, and your policy is not just something that can just stand up and start working in a day. There are incubation periods for any. There's no policy that has no incubation period. In fact, there are times that you have a policy that will only start being effective after 10 years. Why did we have, if not because of maladministration, misappropriation, and the lack of political will to get things done? Why did we have Vision 2020 when we had it? Right? Millennium Development Goals. Where are these things? It wasn't Tinubu that was president then, but we failed at that too. Let's be realistic and stop shifting goalposts and looking for who to blame. The idea is, okay, we are all Nigerians. Even this so-called set of leaders we have in the country, they are also Nigerians. They came from some family houses here. What exactly are you doing to make sure that you hold them accountable from where they are coming from? At least they are representing you. Okay? We now all want to blame the president for every and any problem, whereas you have lawmakers on the floor of the house who are not even making laws that will benefit you as an individual. So it's a multifaceted problem in the country. It's hydra-headed, as some will put it, but the problem is not Tinubu alone, right? The problem is everybody, including average Nigerians on the street. You go to Bodija Market, for example, someone will tell you, because dollar is expensive, then tomato is also expensive. And then you can juxtapose that with what you get somewhere else, and you'll be like, why did you do this when someone else is doing this? Does it mean that this other person that sold to you, at a cheaper rate is not making profit? Some people are just naturally selfish. They are major destroyers of the economy by just knowingly or unknowingly acting on their own instinct to destroy the country and then lay the blame on someone else. But we can also chart a way forward. You look at all the political parties. Who are the new politicians that you have there? That this is the same set of people. He was a local government chairman. From there, he was a state house of assembly. From there, federal house of senator, became governor, became minister. These are the same set of people. They have refused to leave power. And some of them are even doing some sort of inheritance for their sons. They are placing them at strategic locations, positioning them to become your leaders tomorrow. And all you have to say is that, politics is a dirty game. I don't want to be a part of it. That means that the same set of people you are vilifying today, right, will produce the same set of people to now rule your own children tomorrow. If you fail to take the right steps today, look at the registration pattern for political parties in the country. APC as of today, maybe around 12.9 million or thereabout. PDP, 4.6 million. ADC, 1.6 million. Labour Party, 1.3 million. NDC has 700,000 as we speak. I don't know if it has increased by this morning. But what I'm trying to say in essence is that these are people that will come out to vote. Most of them are politicians. They go to party meetings. They go to different places. Rather than join them to do beer parlor discussions, why not pick up is it a must for you to join APC to now say you want to run for office? If you are acceptable within your community, you don't need a political party. We have seen politicians who were deprived of tickets in their political parties and they left that major political party to a lesser known political, won an election and came back. So it's not about the party because people make up the party. You have to stand up for yourself and defend what you think is right. So instead of talking about, Amaechi lied, Peter Obi, lied, yeah. I think it is... it's unfounded at this time. We should talk about policies. We should talk about ideas. We should talk about how to move Nigeria forward as a country.
I think you've made very valid point, and I think it's valid even for people who are on this side or on that side, but wherever you stand. I think it's also important that we say that oftentimes a lot of people have always jumped at people who maybe in a way criticize Peter Obi, and then they go the tribal way to say, oh yeah, there's a discoloration. Now it's a tribal. But this is also coming from Rotimi Amaechi.
You should be ready for dragging this.
So that's one of the points I want. I'm saying, yes, I will.
Bullying on social media.
I know. But I'm also expecting that. Why don't you see it this way that it means a lot if someone comes to criticize you. It means you are probably doing something, and you should keep doing it, especially if it is good, right? Keep doing what you, or you work on what you're doing. I'm only saying that Rotimi Amaechi is maybe is one of the few persons who has come out against Peter Obi, but Obedience and every other supporters of Peter Obi should expect more. If you really know what it takes to be a leader, then you should not be afraid. You should not be scared. You should not jump at people. You should have developed a tough skin or a thick skin, or you have built stomach enough to stomach all of these things.
The annoying part of all of this is that if you are either Yoruba or Hausa or any other tribe and you criticize Peter Obi, it is because you don't like Peter Obi, you don't like that tribe that he belongs to. And if you are from his tribe, you are one of his kinsmen, you are regarded as a traitor.
Exactly, like that's called Rotimi Amaechi now.
That's the problem. We have added ethnic coloration, religious coloration to everything and anything we do in Nigeria. And no country grows on that basis. We have prayed for how many years? Since Nigeria got independence, for example, that's well over 60 years ago. And Nigerians have continued to pray every morning. You preach this morning, every other. They prayed. What has changed? It's not about prayer. All right? It's about the political will to get this throne. Majority, 99.9% of what can do for you, you will not do because you have common sense to get it done. All right? It is until you take that step that you now have prayer. Prayer is not the vehicle. Prayer is more or less like the fuel, right? That helps the vehicle to move. If you have no vehicle, if you like have 200,000 liters of petrol, you are going nowhere.
I think I like the analogy because I was going to say that, yeah, prayer is important as well because we understand that, well, for me, where I come from, we say, and it's true, that God has the heart of kings and princes, so he can turn it even when they don't want to do. But more importantly, I think prayer can work, but we beyond prayers too. We need people who can actually work. Yeah, we need people, because all of these things will work because there's somebody that should work it. If nobody is there and then we're just praying into the air, I mean, nobody's going to get anything done anyway. So instead of just praying, which is what we've done that right, and we're making a lot of sense in that, but much more so, can we engage more? Like you said, remember the registrants now for parties, you can see a lot of people are not partisans, a lot of people are not even interested in what is, they're not invested in politics, and they say, yeah, it's a dirty game. So if it's dirty, then you leave it dirty, and then your life, I don't want to say it will be dirty, because most likely that's what's going to happen if we sit aloof and just fold our arms and do nothing about this politics. I think someone once said it right, that the only way for evil to persist is that good men do nothing. And I know it's very important that we keep saying that people should go out not just to vote but also register, become a party member, become partisan, bear a card of a party, and if what you think they are professing or they are doing is not in tandem, I mean, you have a right to decamp, like they say. You have a right to move from one party to the other, or even form your own party and build it from scratch. Nigeria needs radical movement that could change a lot of things. Like you mentioned now, we've had all of these names are just recurrent. We've seen this name about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we've had these names on our lips. But and I'm not even against the names, I'm against what they have known to be truth. You know, because it's often, a lot of people talk about experience, but experience in what? If you say, yeah, we need leaders that are experienced, experienced in what? That's the question. Experience in what? In the political arena, in the politics of the polity of the Nigerian state? Yes, we need that too. But much more importantly, we need more experience in leadership. We need more experience in nation building. In fact, my point, and I'll make this and I'll drop the pen, this is what I have noticed ever since I've started talking about the cases in Nigeria, is that politics seems to be a distraction to governance and to nation building in Nigeria, and that is my opinion.
You see, shortly before we go, I discovered that Nigerians believe so much in prayer. You know, of course, everyone believes in it. It works only if you are doing something, because even the Bible said, you know, faith without work is amounts to nothing. All right, but I feel like Nigerian leaders, they understand the logic that you know, Nigerians feed on emotions. They love being emotional. Even when nothing is happening, they are already emotional. So each time the Nigerians declare prayers on things that common sense would solve, they just sit at the corner of their rooms and smile, like, yes, we are getting it. All right. What I'm trying to say in essence is that you see them when something happens in the country, something really, really bad happens. You see them, they will condemn the first time. Oh, we condemn this act. It is not something that should happen. It's barbaric, it's this, it's that. And then when people are still talking, they condemn the second time. And by the third time, they would just tell you, let's pray that, this changes. And I mean, when common sense could have solved it. I will cite an instance. When the kidnapped victims, these are school children and, their educators were kidnapped in Hauro Esiele, in Orire local government, all right? You would expect that action will be taken before these people move farther than they moved when they kidnapped. You would expect actions. You expect surveillance cameras to be everywhere. You would expect choppers to be flying above the forest. But then what happened? Everyone, it took the governor maybe 11 or 12 days before you could finally go there. When the Inspector General of Police was there, I think the next day, and the governor that was in Ibadan could not go there. And this same person even had his own presidential whatever before he went there. It shows that everybody, you are risking your life in this country. You should just, it's beyond what anyone can just define, because that's the kind of attitude you have towards human lives. It was important for you to get your presidential ticket than to go to Hauro Esiele to check what was going on there. On-site assessment. The governor is here. That will send, shivers down the spine of these people. But the governor chose to do some other things. Yes, I'm not saying he's not doing anything in his office, but it could have been better if he went there by himself. That restores confidence in the government, in the minds of the people. And even the presidency had to send a powerful delegation. Yes, we understand. After how many days? I think that is unreasonable. That's the attitude these governments, people in government have towards human
the body language. And I think it's also important that what comes after the delegation is something that we are looking for. We don't just want a delegation to come and sympathize, empathize. If that is all they came to do, that's not enough. There are children there, children in the forest, and they are crying every day. I'm not sure those guys would have changed their clothes ever since. I'm not sure there's any of them will have taken their bath. These are kids. So they are what's it called now? Their nature. Oh, I'm trying to look for the right word.
I don't see any of those children recovering from this trauma. When they come back.
You talk about trauma. What about the disease? What about the insect that might have, pegged on these kids? And a lot of things that could have happened to them internally, health-wise. How do you restore that? Because some of them, I know the psychological aspect is also something to look at. But what about the health of this child, of these children? They're in the forest, they're in the bush, in the thick of the forest. There's no house there. There's no roof. There's been rains. For every time it rains, I was scared that, oh Jesus, this rain is going to get to somewhere where these people are. And so they are going to be inside the forest, under the rain, under the sun, when they are not even serving as core members who say under the sun or in the
can't even heed what you like.
Imagine what I'm trying to imagine, the state of mind, the state of health of these kids, and all we have to do is for the governor to go there about over 10 days after, now, and then just to yes, I understand. I'm so sorry.
To wrap it up, and it's quite important to also note that we are not saying the government is not doing anything, but the attitude of just saying it with no action to back it up, stresses some of us, and puts us in the situation where we have had to think that what exactly is the government doing? Of course, that's why we're here. We ask questions, and if we don't ask questions, how do the people? Because this is the only way the people get to talk to the people in government. It is through the media, through other channels, and if this is all we can offer the Nigerian people, and I'm sorry to say that nobody is fit to be in government at this time, right? I think we need a change.
We need more.
If this is all we can offer the people, we left our goalpost unguarded, and see what is happening there. So it is now that you have now thought that there has to be a military base. It is now that you have the thought that there should be 1,000 forest guards in our bushes. It is now that you have the thought that you should do a follow-up on state policing. And the governor was even busy out there condemning the administration of President Bola Ahmed, talking about state policing, the framework, there is a bureaucratic bottlenecks. Is that all we need at this time?
Incapacitated.
If there is election, you know how many police officers follow these people about. But you are no longer chief security when it comes to security issues. You can now pass the blame to someone else. Nigerians should wise up. They will pass the blame, yes, but ask them further questions about why they failed. Are they not taking security votes? They are taking billions. In fact, go and check all the states in Nigeria with highest level of insecurity and see how much they take home. Some of them take more money on security votes more than they take on federal allocations. Go and check. Because it has been weaponized, it has been turned into a business, and people are feeding fat on it. And that's even the kind of money that you cannot scrutinize
account for. Yes,
you cannot account them for. They will tell you security business is secret business.
Yeah.
And this is where we are. After spending all the money, this is where we are. Still insecure. It's a nice place to leave this topic this morning. And I will say thank you for being a part of the show so far. Let's take weather report on this show this morning and help you plan your day. And we'll be